ESPN ranks the 49ers 10th in their future power rankings. Will you explain how they came to this conclusion?
Yeah, this was actually a pretty cool little deal they did. You have to have ESPN Plus to have read the article, but
You have that?
I do because I'm a UFC, I'm an MMA guy. And so in order to get UFC pay-per-views, you have to have ESPN Plus. It's kind of a part of the deal they got. So yeah, I do. Um, so what they did was they projected the next 3 years for every team, and they power ranked them based off of how they think those teams are going to do over the next 3 years. They gave rankings for how your roster is without the quarterback. Where does it rank? How's your quarterback?
Yeah.
Coaching, everything. They did a really, really good job with this, but they had the 49ers ranked 10th, tied for 10th with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to give you the teams they had ranked above them. We'll kind of go one by one quickly.
Real quick,
Bills,
just so people know like what the categories are.
Yeah.
It's overall roster minus quarterback, coaching, draft, and front office, and they give everything like a 1 to 100 grade with a decimal point. It's very scientific. I love when there's a decimal point because now I take it seriously. Okay, let's go.
It just makes you seem extra smart with decimal points.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Like the Niners have a coaching grade of 91.0. That's fifth best. They have an overall roster grade minus quarterback of 85.5, not 85.4. Fuck that. 85.5.
Rounding up, baby. That's as good as 86. That's where I come from.
Yeah.
So
don't get crazy. They're not quite at 86 level yet.
Right. But if you're rounding up, Grant, I mean, this is Price is Right rules. All right. Yeah. So the teams they had above them were the Bills, which no issue. These first 6 or so teams I have no issue with, and I'll tell you why in a second. Bills, Chiefs, Packers, Rams, Chargers, Bengals, Ravens. Those were the first 7 or so they had above them. I really don't have an issue with that. And the reason is because those teams all have an established quarterback. We've been going back and forth with Flav a little bit, kind of razzing him, and he's been razzing us. But at the end of the day, we really, truly don't know what Trey Lance is yet, right? And those guys have established, right. And these guys have established top 10 guys, right? And so if you have that, you're automatically ahead of things. Now, here's where I draw an issue. I think the 49ers should probably be next on this list, them or Cleveland, but they went with the Bucs, who, I mean, what they're going to have 1 year probably of Tom Brady. And then what after that? Where do you go to after that? I mean, talk about a question mark. You don't even know who the starter is after Tom Brady retires, right? So I have an issue with that. And then the Colts, who have had a revolving door at the quarterback position for the last few years. Yeah. So those rosters may be good.
Right. In fact, that whole regime could get fired in a year if Matt Ryan doesn't save their jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would argue Super Bowl window. Now, I think there's multiple ways you can look at this, but when I say is the Super Bowl window open, that means wide open. Like you're competing now for a Super Bowl. I think the 49ers window over the next 2 years is more wide open than what the Chiefs is, to be frank with you, because the Chiefs are going to pay Mahomes a lot of money. They're already starting to lose some good pieces, and their roster is nowhere near as built as the 49ers. And I do expect Trey Lance is going to be a top 7 to 12 guy. And if I believe that, I think their window is way more wide open than the Chiefs is. I think the Chiefs is slightly closed for a couple years. Now with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, it can open at any point. But right now, if I'm just forecasting, I think it's closing. And I think the 49ers window is opening. So I don't know. To me, I think the 49ers are a little bit too low. But if you don't have an established quarterback for the next 3 years, it's worse than having a question mark of at least a guy that's on the roster. We don't even know for the Bucs and Colts who the hell is going to be there next year.
Let me go through the Niners grades because they're fascinating to me. Yeah. Like what they think of the Niners. So overall roster minus quarterback, 85.5. That's 7th best in the league. That's high praise. Yeah. It's very high praise for a team that has, question marks. And we've talked about it all offseason at like 5 different positions. People think the Niners are better than solid, like borderline elite. Quarterback, 76, 18th. Okay, that's kind of low, especially in a future ranking where you're thinking like someone you invest in for the future, Trey Lance. I mean, top 3 pick. Okay. So coaching 91, that's 5th. So the roster is 7th, the coaching is 5th. That's usually a good team, but draft 19th, 76.8. Well, that's all about the quarterback position. And then front office, 80, that's 16th. Again, that's all about the quarterback position. So if Trey Lance is good, then all the other grades go up. It's all about Lance. And to me, again, I just feel like there's too much. It's been a long time since a team took a quarterback and sat him for a year, especially a guy that was drafted that high. People are confused. And I think people are too down on Trey Lance. I mean, there's 17 quarterbacks you'd rather build around in the future than Trey Lance. 17? I mean, I doubt that. I don't think so. Yeah. I think more likely that he'd be, even with only 2 starts under his belt, closer to 10. Just off pedigree. So I don't know. I feel like, maybe they're overestimating the coaching a little bit. Maybe they're overestimating the roster a little bit and underestimating Trey. I don't know. But to come out at 10th, maybe that's overall fair. I mean, there are some question marks in this team.
There definitely is. There definitely is. But basically, they echoed what I thought, which is, okay, so it's a top 7 roster. You have 7 teams that Right. And you at least have a quarterback on the team for the next 3 years, we would think, and Trey Lance. Yeah. Those other teams don't even have a quarterback guaranteed on their roster for the next 3 years. So the unknown with the 49ers is less than what the Bucs and the Colts have. Now, the difference is they probably believe that, well, with at least even 1 year of Matt Ryan or Tom Brady, we know what those guys are. And so that maybe that team can win this year. And so that's enough to put them ahead out of, 33% chance to win this year, I guess. But I also feel like they missed. They added the draft thing, which was cool, but they missed on player development. That was a category that they could have added, and that would have balanced out the whole draft thing, in my opinion.
That's a good point. I guess you'd have to put that in coaching or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good point. What else I want to say? I'll remember it in a minute. Zach Bowen says, Aaron Banks is my choice. I think we really need him to be good this year. Our O-line kind of scares me right now. McGlinchey too, man. McGlinchey. Dude, be out. He said he was going to be ready for the beginning of training camp. You better be. Because I don't know. I mean, look, he's a disappointment. He wasn't worth the top 10 pick. He's a solid right tackle. Okay? He's a solid right tackle. He can be a good run blocker at times. They don't have another solid right tackle on their roster. They really need Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, they do. They do need Mike. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's going to be pivotal to winning this year. Mike McGlinchey is as important as any, really.
Miguel Santana says, I'm going to smash my head on a glass beer if D Ford is on this team this season. Trey is going to be a beast. I'll use Jimmy Stand Square. TF up. Wow. Miguel has had
Here's what's going to happen. You're going to do that, but then he's going to get a sack and a half in week 1 and limited, maybe 25 snaps or so. We're all going to get excited. And then Thursday, we're going to learn he has a back problem and is out indefinitely again. That's the D Ford cycle.
All right. C. Turley says, hey, y'all never addressed the Seattle trade possibility. Does it happen? Why or why not? I say no, because it's an arch nemesis. Again, the Niners would have to probably pay the entire salary. Hey, we're paying, and maybe they would. But the thing is, we're going to pay Jimmy Garoppolo to play for you, Seattle, but you have to play him when we play you. That's the stipulation. You can't play Geno Smith because we want to play Jimmy. We think Jimmy gives us a better chance to win.
Yeah.
Fred Warner knows his tendencies.